Hi, welcome to Salt City Knits. I'm Emily, and this is a podcast all about my making life. I'm happy to be with you today. It's October, which is my favorite month of the whole year, and I'm just having so much joy that we're in October. It just makes me happy. So you can find me on or at all the contact information that's listed in the description box below. And you can find links to my shop for my patterns and my yarn, and also my patterns are all available on Ravelry as well. And today I have some life update to share with you, some finished objects, works in progress, books, and some shop news. And today is going to be a little more serious as far as life update goes. So I'm going to talk about some tough topics, or at least some very emotional ones for myself. I want you to have that heads up so that if this is not for you, I understand. So September was a rough month. Can I just say it was a rough month? I think it was a rough month for a lot of people. I mean, I know it was. There are a lot of really hard things that happened. And I talk really regularly about the fact that I am a person of faith, but I don't go into a lot of detail about my own personal, religion specifically. And I'm not going to necessarily do that today. But I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we have had some hard times. So in addition to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which happened about 45 minutes away from my house at Utah Valley University, we've had that has happened. And that was really quite shocking and very tragic. I think it started a lot of conversation online, which has brought both good things and bad things. But on Saturday, our prophet, President Russell M. Nelson, passed away. Now, it's not unexpected. He had just turned 101 years old, but it's still hard. We love him. He is a man of great integrity and leadership and counsel, and has brought a lot of peace and steadiness into our lives with his direction. And it's hard. He was the president of our church. And it's just hard to say goodbye to him. I've met him in person once. It's not somebody I know in person, but it's somebody who I have looked up to and relied on his counsel and direction for many years, not just the years that he was the president of our church, but years as a leader in our church for, as long as I can remember, honestly, decades and decades. So it's just hard to say goodbye to him. And while all of us in our church were kind of just processing that news, on Sunday we got further news that a church of ours, a congregation of our church in Michigan, was the object of a horrible attack. Somebody plowed their truck into our church building. This is during the time that families were there during worship service, and this person got out of their truck and opened fire into the congregation and set fire to the building. A close family friend of ours, they were not there, but they have relatives that were there. And including a young boy who was shot. He is okay, but his dad is still very touch and go. So, it feels very close to home. And kind of having these things in succession, not to mention other horrific tragedies that have happened at the same time, I think we're all kind of reeling. And I mean, members of our church we kind of get a persecution complex a little bit. Going back to the history of our church, which includes my own ancestry. I mean, my own great-great-great-grandfather was tarred and feathered in Missouri because he was a member of our church and a leader in our church. And I mean, there's just a lot of history of it being okay to attack members of our church. It being okay for other Christians to attack members of our church, to make fun of us, to mock us, to call us names, to say we're in a cult, just all kinds of things like that. And you know what? Most of the time I have a really thick skin about it because it's not new. It's not something I'm not used to. But I think it's time for a conversation about the way that we talk about each other and the way we treat each other. And that it's not okay to treat anybody that way, regardless of whether you agree with us or not. We should never be treating each other that way. And I'm not just talking about the violence, because we all can agree. I think we can all agree that that is not okay. I'm talking about the way that people talk about it. It's really interesting to me that the reaction that so many people had to the fact that this person killed people who were worshiping God and attacked a place of worship during times when family was there, that somehow their first response was, but at least they're not Christian, which we can argue all day about that, but that was the response. That blows my mind. So yeah, it's time to do better. So all of that being said, I know I am already preaching to the choir because I have the most lovely, supportive, respectful, wonderful group of people who watch this podcast, who we all are from different backgrounds and different belief systems, and yet you are all so wonderful and so supportive and are lovely to me. And many of you have sent comments to me about what has happened recently and said, I've just been thinking of you, which I appreciate so much. Sharing your prayers and your comfort and condolences. And sometimes you've asked me for my prayers, and I am so happy to do that. So much so. And I think that, I am preaching to the choir. Like I said, this is the group of people that knows how to treat each other. So thank you for being that way. I hope we can continue that and that can grow. I want that to grow and spread because there's no place for this. No place for treating each other with cruelty or with derision or mocking. We need to be each other's support. We need to have each other's backs, So anyway, it's just been kind of an emotional roller coaster. But this morning I watched a memorial tribute to President Nelson, and it was so beautiful and encouraging and reminded me so much of all of the wonderful things I've learned from President Nelson and all of the hope of Jesus Christ and of the hope of heaven and all the beautiful things that are ahead of us. In addition to it being so great for that, as in kind of balm for the soul after all of this violence and kind of ugliness online, I have been seeking inspiration for myself, for my own path. Like, where do I want to go with Yarnbrary and with my designing? Just trying to figure out the next steps. Things have been a little bit rough, and I know I've mentioned that before, and I'm not going to go into detail about that, but just I just need some new direction, if that makes sense. So I'm really excited to just spend some time over the next week or so praying and pondering and journaling and making lists, kind of all the things that I do when I'm trying to figure out my next steps. And looking for that kind of direction and where I want to head with my business. So yeah, I'm just in that process. And as part of that, our family this weekend, we are going to be getting together and doing kind of a family retreat, which I'm so excited for. We're going to watch our church's general conference, which is 5 2-hour sessions over a couple of days. But we're also going to play games and eat really good food and do some crafts and just hang out and talk and be together. We're going to have a little 3-day family retreat, and all of my kids, except for Isaac, who is in Texas still, he and will be for another year plus. The rest of the kids, my son-in-law, my daughter-in-law, my cute little grandson, we're all going to be together, and it's just going to be lovely. So I'm really excited for that, because I feel like with conference and just conversations and all of these things, it's just going to be the perfect time to just kind of recenter and definitely get a lot of knitting done and just have a good time together. So I am really excited about that. And last little life update on my health. I am 45 pounds down. I'm still 45 pounds down. I am hoping to kickstart that up a little bit. And so we'll see how it goes, but I'm still feeling really good. And it's actually kind of strange, because when I had lost about when I got to 40 pounds down, I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can so see the differences. And I guess it's just because now I'm used to those differences. I feel like nothing has changed. And yet if I go back and look at pictures of me in March compared to pictures of me now, I can see the differences in my face, in my neck, in my shoulders, and I can feel it in my clothes, but it's like, I feel like my body is the same. I know it's not, because I can't even wear any of my clothes anymore. But I know it's just this weird thing. Like my mind I can't see it. So it's okay. I know that my mind's playing tricks on me, and I'm just going to keep going, and it'll be okay. I have a long, long way to go still. So it's just gonna take time, but every time I get discouraged about things not being fast enough, or am I really making any progress, I just say to myself again and again, it's not about fast, it's about forever. And so I'm just concentrating on habits and long-term differences, and not about speed. And that really helps me to keep my mental focus where it needs to be. And I still feel really positive and excited about things. My goal has been, I really wanted to lose 50 pounds by my birthday. That's next week. I'm not going to lose 5 pounds by next week. I don't think it would be healthy. I mean, at this point, it's not like I have a ton of water weight, or like that early, when you first start your health journey, a lot of times you'll lose a big amount right at the beginning. But I'm not in that stage right now. So, it'd be nice to lose 2 pounds, because that's kind of my goal, 2 pounds a week. But I'd still like to get to that 70-pound mark if I can by the end of the year. So that would be another 15 pounds down over 3 months of time. That seems very doable. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to be 70 pounds down by the end of the year. And I will be so happy with whatever happens, because regardless, I've lost 45 pounds and that is great. So anyway, definitely, I'm crossing my fingers. It's not about luck. It's about consistency. And so I'm just going to keep being consistent. All right. That was plenty of chatter. Let's talk about projects. Let's talk about knitting and about yarn, some of our favorite things ever. All right. Oh my goodness. I have a lot of things I cannot show you, but I do have some things I can. So first off, tonight is our secret swap for my knitting group. I will not be releasing this video until tomorrow, so I am going to talk about it. Now, I had recorded some video through the process of starting, through the process of making my secret project. But it all got corrupted and I can't use it. So sadly, I don't have that to share, but let me share what I do have. So for those of you who may be new, in my knitting group, every year we do a secret swap. And what happens is that we get, we each bring a skein of yarn and we fill out a little questionnaire. This is the questionnaire that I received, that we put in our bag with our yarn. And then we each take a bag home, and there's a whole system to make sure we don't get our own. But we each take a bag home with us so that we have this person's yarn. And the questionnaire has it has our name, our Ravelry, and Instagram when applicable, some kinds of things that we like to wear or make, some of the things that we do not like, and then some of our measurements. And really it's only asking for foot and head and hand measurements. And then then the idea is that we use as much of that skein of yarn as possible. We can add other yarn to it, but we want to use up as much of that yarn as we can and make something for the other person. And we do the exchange. I think this year we did it in March. And then in October, we give those things back. So tonight we get to give ours back. And the yarn that I got was a skein of Malabrigo, I think it was Ultimate Sock. No, it was just sock, Malabrigo sock in the color Ursula. And this is what I have left. And the person that I am knitting this for, her name is Amy. It feels like I can't believe I'm revealing the secret, but by the time this is out, she will already have these items. So Amy, she is not somebody who really wears shawls. They're just not really her. And she's a petite woman. She's an amazing knitter. I talked about her before on my podcast. And this yarn, I was trying to think, what would I do with this for Amy? I can see this being colors that she would like, but she's not really a variegated yarn kind of girl. She tends to wear beautifully tailored items, and she is excellent at fit, and she prefers sweaters over just about anything else. Well, with that in mind, I decided I was going to make her a sweater. And I mean, it sounds kind of crazy. You only got one skein of yarn. Well, she is a petite woman. So it took adding 2 other skeins, and I picked my Twain colorway. And this is how much I have left of the second skein. And I knit the Friday tee by Petite Knit. And this is what it turned out like. And I think it is so cute. Now, I am really lucky because Amy is meticulous at note-taking on her own projects. So I was able to go stalk her Ravelry and look at other sweaters that she had made, see what sizes she made, and any notes that she made on them. So I am crossing my fingers that this is going to fit her well, because I really tried to do my homework and make it something that she would like. I love the texture of this. And I really love this wide raglan increase line and how it looks with the stripes. I think it turned out so great. So, so good. I'm really hopeful that this is the back, is going to, that it's going to fit her, that she's going to like it. If all goes well, I will have some video, or at least some photos of tonight to post at the end of this video to share how it turned out and her reaction. Now, the crazy thing about this is I knit this entire sweater striping with the yarn that she gave, and then using the twain for the other, for these, the solid color, the background color. And I got to the end and I still had like 65 grams of yarn left. And I was like, really? I did not expect that. And since the goal, and I'm talking 65 grams of the yarn that she had given, and since the goal is to use as much of that yarn as possible, I knit her a pair of socks as well. And I think it's really interesting to see how this yarn turned out just solid. So yeah, compared to how it looks striped in to this sweater. Isn't that cool? So this is just a vanilla sock, and I used my Dickens colorway as the contrast for heels, toes, and cuffs on these socks. So it's a twofer. So that is what I have for my friend Amy, this gift. Now I can wrap it and give it to her tonight, and I am so excited.
This is that you know more about what it looks like than we do, because we don't know what yarn you gave her.
I know. Although I was having to rack my brain. I think I remember.
I don't remember.
If it's not this yarn,
I don't remember
I'm
either.
I remember this time, but I usually don't.
She put something from her stash in for me.
I've been looking forward to this night for so long.
It'll be a surprise.
I almost don't want the surprise to be over.
I know.
Too bad, because we do.
Too bad.
Now we're here, we gotta know.
There are multiple things. Oh,
Ooh,
very
beautiful.
thank you. Wow, this yarn looks so good in those socks. I never would have guessed that, like based on how it looked in the skein. And I
remember
just have
now?
to say, yeah, it was the skein I thought it was gonna be, but I'm just so glad to have a pair of socks I don't have to knit.
Yeah.
I know, it's nice.
Awesome, they're so pretty, Emily.
I'm so glad.
Thank you.
Accent color matches.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's my Dickens
I
color.
know. Wow.
Beautiful.
I still had some yarn left over, so there's something else in there.
Okay. All right. That is a treat. I am so happy to have those. And yeah, it just that the yarn is just so cool. I'm just like amazed.
You picked good yarn.
Turned out like that. Ooh, whoa, but this is hefty.
Well, it's because I'm joking. I knit that first, and then the socks were with the leftover yarn.
This was the leftover.
It's the other way around.
It was. It's a lot of leftover.
Hey, this is. Oh. My goodness, what is this? What? Oh my goodness! It's so cute. So beautiful. I cannot believe that. That is so pretty. It's just so pretty. Look at that. Oh my goodness.
It's the Friday Tea by Petite
I actually
Knit.
recognize, yeah, the pattern. It looks perfect.
And you have socks to match.
Perfect size.
Your sweater's gonna match.
And I feel like this, I feel like you just know me.
Well, you are a very meticulous note taker on Ravelry, which was so helpful because I stalked your Ravelry account and then I went through and I was able to look and see like measurements and things like what sizes you made and so I'm really hopeful it's gonna fit right. It's always so scary to make something for somebody else. Do it, just do it.
I think you're the first one of us that's been brave enough to do a sized garment.
I just have
for
to say
somebody.
too that when I gave the skein of yarn, because I didn't really know what to do with it, and I got really nervous because I was like, that's not even like my color.
I know, it really isn't. That's what I was
She
thinking.
did with it. She just like made it into these beautiful little stripes. Oh my goodness. I could not believe it.
Oh, it's perfect.
Oh my gosh, it is perfect.
It is so cute.
Oh, yeah.
Yay, I'm so happy.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Emily, we have to get it.
The fun of this swap comes in, you know, thinking and planning and preparing for that person. And you feel so much love for each other as you make something for each other. And it's just so, I don't know, it's just so fun and rewarding. And you know they're going to appreciate it because they're makers. You know, talk about knit worthy. They are makers. And every year I do this where I get to the day of the swap and all of a sudden I remember, oh yeah, I also have a gift coming and I don't even know what it is. And honestly, I'm trying to even remember what yarn I put in. By this point, I don't even remember. I have absolutely no memory. What did I put in? I can't remember. I don't know. I really don't know what yarn I even put in that swap. So I guess whatever it is, it will be great. Now, that is all I have for finished objects. Like I said, I have a couple other finished objects, but they're not ones I can show. So let's move on to works in progress. So first up, I love this bag. I got this from So Sweet Violet from my good friend Jules. It was her big Laura Ashley bag. I got this a few years ago. I'm so sad So Sweet Violet closed, but I totally understand. What's also fun is it came with this really cute, let's turn it around, matching pouch that I've got my Notions tin and some other needles in and so on. So I haven't made a ton of progress on this sweater. This is the Schnee sweater by, let's see, I didn't bring up the pattern with me. Schnee, and so I don't have the pattern. I'll put the name of the designer, the name of the pattern and designer here. But I am knitting this in a new base that I am trying out. And I talked about this last time. This is a DK base that is 40% baby alpaca, 40% merino, and 20% silk. And it's a single ply. And it is like marshmallow. It is gorgeous. Here's another cake of it. Look at that. I don't think it's showing up as good on the camera as it is in person. It's got the tiniest bit of a sheen to it from the silk. And then it's got this gorgeous halo. Can you see it against the backdrop of my sweater? Beautiful halo. Almost as if you were holding a skein of a strand of mohair. Because it's just got this beautiful soft halo and it's just so fun. I have not made a ton of progress on this, but I have finished all of the increases for the neckline and the decreases at the sleeve. And now I am just working the body straight up and down. This is knit in moss stitch with garter stitch up at the top at the shoulders. Here, let's show you the back. So it's got garter stitch there at the top. And of course, you know, it's unblocked, so it's kind of messy. I think it's going to block out amazingly. I'm a little worried about how much it's going to grow in length because of the fact that it's a single ply. It's got a good amount of kind of, I don't know, it's not stretch, but I just think it's going to grow a little bit. And then you've got drape from alpaca, drape from silk, but then you've got the squish from the merino. So hopefully it's a good texture when it all comes together. I am knitting this as a gift for a family member. And here is where I am. This is where I finished the increases for the V-neck and the decreases for the sleeve and just started working straight. So they're kind of long rows at this point, but it's so like rhythmic. It's 1 by 1 rib, but you know, moss stitch, it's knit 1, purl 1, just depends on where you put the knit ones and purl ones. And so I'm really happy that I flick with my finger because it's knitting and purling and switching back and forth is so easy for me. I don't mind purling at all. And so I'm just enjoying the rhythm of it all. And the way I knit, I kind of knit and then pull my yarn to the front all as part of the same movement, and then purl and put my yarn to the back all as the same kind of continuous movement. And so it's just a nice rhythm. I can't take this with me for our family retreat because that family member will be there. So that can't go, but that is okay. So this is for Christmas. And so I've got a little, I've got some time to work on it. And I think it's going to come just fine and come along just fine. But, oh, I forgot to put that back in. But I'm excited to be working more on it. Specifically next week, I'm sure I'll spend more time on it after we do our family retreat. And now that all my secret projects are done, I can just give that one a little more focus when we get back. I cast on a new design and I thought I might do something fun and be just super transparent about my design process with this pattern. So let's talk about it. I have been really enjoying a lot of the patterns, including ones that I myself have designed, but that are knit from end to end. I'm talking shawl designs. And then they're either increased on one edge, on both edges, or increased and then decreased on one. It's just kind of fun when you have those shorter rows. And I have been doing a lot of browsing through different stitch dictionaries and online stitch catalogs and so on. And I found a really pretty lace stitch that I wanted to try. And so I thought this would be a perfect place to do this. And so I am designing a shawl, and this is my pattern. I have a bunch of these books. I have some small ones and then some ones that are 8.5 by 11 size. These are just dotted blank books. And that's what I do all my design notes in. Kind of because it's easy. I can stick this in a project bag and take notes on it. And then of course, I'm putting it all into the computer, but depending on how complicated the pattern is, I may write the entire thing in the book and then just go and type it all up. Or I'm pointing this way because behind this wall is where my desk is. Not that you needed to know that. I just wanted to explain why I keep doing that. Anyway, where was I? Okay, so like if it's socks, or a lot of times if it's a shawl, something that's more simple, it's going to be all written out, or at least enough notes that, it's pretty much, I have the whole pattern in the book. But like for my cardigan that I'm still not done with the pattern, more on that later. But with my cardigan, that one was definitely some notes here, then go to the computer, then back to here, then back to the computer. Not this book specifically, but you get the idea. So I am knitting a pattern that's going to be this shape. Yes, I am an artist. I am not an artist. Okay, I do not have any skills in drawing. I used to, but those skills were neglected and they're gone. So I am knitting in this direction, increasing on one side to a point, and then we're going to decrease. And we're going to work, our rows back and forth this way and build our lace inside of that structure. And so I have designed a chart, and the first thing I did was figure out what I wanted the lace repeat to be. And so I came up with that. And then the second thing I had to come up with was what was the rate of increasing that I wanted to do along the side to grow the shape of my shawl out to a triangle, and then the rate of decrease back. So I calculated that ratio of how fast I wanted it to grow. The more you increase, so the more often you increase, for example, if you increased on every row, you would get a 45-degree angle. If you increase on every other row, you're going to get a slightly shallower angle. Every 6th row, basically what did I want that slope to be, that angle to be? I want it to be fairly shallow. So I figured out my rate of increases. And then once I figured out the rate of increases, then I could go and I could create, I'm big on charts, you know that about me. So I mentally, personally, I am a chart girl. So I created the chart for the pattern repeat, the lace repeat. And then I created a chart for the way that I would build that lace into the way that would increase. And that is where I have gotten to. So I have my chart here, and I have cast on, and I have just barely done this first little part. And this first little part I decided to put in stockinette stitch, and I decided to have garter stitch edges, garter border here. And we'll see as I grow that. If I continue to like the garter stitch, I might switch to I-cord. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to begin building my lace down here. And in the end, I decided this is a simple enough lace pattern that I'm fine with it starting here. So I'm now at the point where I'm going to begin my lace. So this is just the first little beginnings. It's grown that much. It's increasing just on the one side. I just barely started this. I just started the knitting. So, and the yarn that I am using is my yak base, and I have dyed it with my Elliot colorway. Now I have another skein of Elliot on my biography base. Look at the difference. This is Elliot on biography sock. So that's on an 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon base. And this one is a yak and nylon base, I believe. Now I'm second guessing myself. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It might be yak, merino, and nylon. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but that is okay. Regardless, this yarn is a dark gray before I dye it. And I think it's so cool to see the way that affects the color. Isn't that neat? When I hold them together, you can tell that this has the same color in it, but it's definitely much, much darker. Here are two other skeins of yarn that I also dyed on my yak base. Now I want to show you something cool. So I have these same colors. I have some partial skeins here. So this is my Tolkien colorway on yak, and here's my Tolkien colorway on contemporary sock. Isn't that interesting to see the difference there? This is my Dickens colorway. Oh my goodness, this on yak. It's swoon worthy. Look at that color. Oh my goodness. So this is Dickens, and here is Dickens on biography sock. So cool to see the differences there. Since this is a darker color to begin with, the contrast isn't quite as huge as it is here, but it's still definitely a contrast. So I just thought that was really cool to see. Kind of a fun thing to compare. So anyway, I am using this beautiful yarn, this beautiful yak base, which is luscious. Yak has this amazing smoothness to it, with some strength and some drape. And I love it. It's absolutely luscious. Any of you who got my Christmas box last year, the Christmas at Orchard House box, know, because I used this base for the Joe March sock set. So you will have already experienced this yak base, and it is just so nice. So that is the baby beginning of my new shawl design, and I'm excited to show you as it grows. Oh, sorry, that was very loud. To show you as it grows how that design process continues. Now, it may end up being one of those unicorns of an experience where I just design it and then I knit it and then it's good. But most likely I will get to a certain point and decide, I don't actually like how I did this or that. Let's pull it back out and let's start over again and make this change or that change. And, whether I change the rate of the increases or I change it to an I-cord border, or I do decide to go back and start my lace earlier, or whatever else it might be. Maybe in the end, I'll decide, I don't really love that lace pattern combined with that shape, and I'll decide a different lace or something. So, we'll see what happens. But I thought I would just share the process with you. Might be interesting. All right. Now, speaking of shawls and processes. Oh, first of all, I have to show you this cute bag. This is the bag that I have this project in. Isn't that fun? I feel like this is Little Robin. Yes, it is. There's her tag. I was looking for the tag earlier. It's on the inside. This is Little Robin Cottage. I have several of her bags. She's one of my favorite bag bakers. So just cute. And look at that cute fabric on the back. It's just fun because it's small. It's perfect for a one skein project. I don't know why I decided to knit this on a 40-inch cable. I'm definitely switching out those needles for a shorter cable. It's not going to be that wide. It doesn't need that big of a cable. Okay, tomorrow, when this video airs, it will be October 2nd. And October 2nd is the start of Stephen West's Mystery Knit Along, the Mystery Musicale. And I cannot wait to share what I finally decided for my yarns. I went back and forth and back and forth. And I've talked many times about how much I love pinks and golds. And I came this close to deciding to do that. I had to dye yarn for my shawl because I didn't want to take anything that was in stock. And so I had the yarn soaking. I was starting to mix dyes. When at the last minute, I decided, no, I am not doing that. And this is what I decided. And I love it. So these are my colors. And I think they're gorgeous. Look at that. These are my 4 colors. I'm in love with them. This is my Biography sock base, which is kind of my go-to base. I love this base. This base is super soft, smooth, squishy, springy, bouncy. It's just, like I said, it's my go-to. So my 4 colors, starting on this side, this is Burnett. It is not an undyed yarn. It is a very, very soft, cream color. It's got the tiniest hint. It's not pink, but maybe a tiny, tiny hint of blush in it. And then I have Twain, which I showed you already in the secret sweater that I had made. Twain, and then Elliot, which I had shown you already. I love this one. Oh, it's gorgeous. And then this is Dumas. Oh, those colors are so good. And I loved them when I dyed them, but then when I skeined them up and took a picture, here's the picture. So looking at this picture, I was like, oh yes, I have made the right choice. I have definitely made the right choice. That is the direction I want to go. So I love that I have kind of this gradient here, and then I've got the pop with that color. It's just good. So I'm going to cake these up, get them ready. I'm so excited for tomorrow, casting on a new project, and it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I'm hoping it's going to be a project that I end up liking the finished object. I haven't loved all of his finished mystery shawls. I am not a fan of the building blocks shawl. The twists and turns was kind of weird. And there was another one that I don't really care for. It's kind of a V-shaped, like not triangle, like V-shaped with big holes in it. Wasn't really my favorite. I can't remember what that one's called, but so many of his are gorgeous. I love the Doodler. I love Exploration Station, Starflake, Slipstravaganza, last year's the Geogradient. Geogradient was 2 years ago. That one was fine. But last year's was Go Dynamo. Loved those. So I'm really hopeful that we'll get a finished object, not the same, but that has that kind of wearability and appeal, like general appeal. That's not too wacky. So, but you know what? Whatever it is, I'll have fun. And if I don't end up wearing it, it'll be a great gift. So those are my gorgeous colors, and I will be caking these up and kind of pre-setting things, getting my needles. I always go up a needle size. His mystery shawls are pretty much always on a US size 4. And he's a very loose knitter, or at least I'm a tighter knitter compared to him. But like if you watch his tutorials and stuff, you can see that he's a looser knitter. And so I know that my gauge runs tighter, runs tighter than his. So I will be knitting on a US size 5 needle. And I'm just excited to get started with that. So that is it for knitting today as far as my finished objects and my works in progress and upcoming. I'm calling that, it's not a work in progress, but it kind of is because, I picked out the yarn. I'm ready to get started tomorrow. So I'm not sure what my daughter's doing. So books. I finished volume 5 of the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. There are 3 books left in the series, and I just love this series so much. Book 5 wasn't necessarily my favorite of the books so far, but I don't know how many of you are reading these books or have read them, but the questions I have now that I don't want answers to are, what is up with Hawks? What is up with that guy? Seriously? I do not understand that man. And also the choice between 2 possible love interests, like which one would I pick? I go back and forth, this one or that one. This one seems the more obvious one, but I kind of like this one. But I kind of like, I don't know. There's some yearning, there's some interest, but there's also some good chemistry. So it's hard to decide. And there's absolutely hilarious moments. It's just so fun to read them. And so I had gone back and forth about whether I was going to read them on paper. I actually did start volume 5, not on paper, but on my Kindle before the audio came out. But then the audio came out and I was like, I just love the audio of these books. And they're coming out every 2 weeks. So I'm just going to stick with the audios and enjoy those. So the next one I think comes out on Sunday, comes out on Sunday. So looking forward to it. It'll be fun. In the meantime, I mentioned last episode that I was trying to decide if I was going to start The Lord of the Rings again. I have this thing, and I've done it so many years in a row, where when it gets to September, the end of September, and as Hobbit Day, September 22nd, approaches, that's the birthday of Bilbo and Frodo. They share a birthday. I just want to read Lord of the Rings in the fall. I just do. There's something about it that's, I think a lot of it is, I mean, you've got a lot of different forests involved. You've got the old forest. You've got mentions of Mirkwood if you're in The Hobbit. You're not in The Hobbit in this one, but they talk about Mirkwood. You've got Lothlorien, and then you've got Fangorn. And so you're spending time in these forests, and then you've got the plains of Rohan. Plus there's some really, very specifically called out autumnal moments. The birthday party in September, and then the traveling through the Shire after that, and different things like that are definitely have this autumnal feel. And then hobbits themselves are, I think, autumnal people, because they're, when you think about harvest, you think about foods, you think about home comforts. That's very Hobbit-like. So anyway, it just is a mood read for me, and I did decide to read them again. And I very quickly went through Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers, and I'm now in Return of the King. And I'm talking quick because it is October 1st. So that means, yeah, it was in 8 days I read 2 1/3 of those books. So I have to share with my reading. I have mentioned before that I try to read 52 books in a year. The idea being that it works out to be about 1 per week. And as of August, the end of August, I had read 25, but I have now read 39. That can't be right. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I ended up with my list on a few different pages here. Oh no, I lied. What am I looking at? No, those are items made. 25. So I read 1, 2, 3. I think my numbers are off. I am looking at the completely wrong list. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7. I am now at 33 books read. So I've read 8 books in September, which makes sense because I read 5 volumes of the Unselected Journals, Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and then I also read Where the Crawdads Sing again. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that. I read the Where the Crawdads Sing in May. I read it again in September. I don't need to read it for a while now. So I read 8 books in September. So that was great. Now those Unselected Journals, they're pretty fast, I have to admit. But yeah, I'm really enjoying my reading right now. So I'll finish out Return of the King fairly quickly, and then I'll be able to read 2 of the Emma M. Lyons. I think the 8th book comes out November 6th. So there'll be 2 that come out in October. And so at least I know of 3 books that I will read in October. I haven't really planned past that, but that's okay. I don't need to. I can figure out what I want to read as I go. I'm not going to make it to 52. I don't know. Maybe I could. I might still make that goal, you guys. If I'm at 33 books and I have 3 months to go, that's 17 books in 3 months. It's kind of like the same number of pounds I want to lose. Read a book, lose a pound. Wouldn't that be nice if that's how it actually worked? All right, let's talk shop news. I don't really have a ton to share. I do have a pattern highlight. I've decided I'm going to start doing pattern highlights. And so I want to share my backcountry shawl. So my Backcountry Shawl is a 3-color crescent shaped shawl, and it's a long and shallow crescent with some really simple lace and some fun garter stitch and stockinette stitch to kind of break it up. And I just think it's a beautiful one, and it has one of my favorite things, which are these curly ends. And I love it with the contrast border. So I knit this, and actually the sample is made in Malabrigo yarns. I knit this and designed this before I reopened the Yarnbrary, so it's kind of fun. I could not tell you what these 3 colors are. That's the downside, but it's listed in my pattern. But it's just fun. It uses 3 skeins of yarn, and it's a delight to knit. It's quite simple. It's charted and written, and it's just a beautiful shawl for your fall wardrobe. So I think it's really fun, and I love it. And I think this one hasn't gotten as much love as it should. It's a really beautiful one. I designed this 2 years ago, and it's one of the ones that I actually wear the most. I have this really pretty dress. Oh, in fact, you know what? Here's a picture of me. I'm wearing my dress and the shawl, and I'm knitting. And right next to me is most likely the future prophet of our church. He actually came to our church congregation. It was November of 2023, just as a surprise, just out of the blue. I guess it's something he does. If he doesn't have like a previous assignment that day, he will just pick one of the congregations and go to it. And so he came, and I was sitting in our Sunday school class, and I was knitting probably some socks or something. I don't remember what's in that picture, and he just came in the middle and sat down by me, and I was like, do I put my knitting away? But I kept knitting, I kept listening, I kept commenting. He wasn't there for very long in that class. He went around and visited all the different classes that were happening. But anyway, I wear this shawl a lot with that dress. It looks really nice together, and so it's a fun one that I've definitely put into my wardrobe. I think it's just as pretty as can be. So this is Backcountry, and it is available on Ravelry and at yarnbrary.com. And there you go. I love it. Also, what I am wearing, I guess I didn't mention that before. This is a linen and merino blend. And what is the name of the sweater? I have it over here, don't I? Maybe. I should. Come on, what is it? Here we go. Okay, I've got the pattern. I just can't find the front page of the pattern. Aha, here we go. What is this right here? It's the Rosanna cardigan by Elizabeth Smith Knits. And I knit this in So Happy Jane, and the has this fun eyelet down the front, and the what am I trying to say? The yarn base name is called Sustain, and so it just turned out fun. Short sleeves. It's nice because it's a linen blend, and so it's a nice layering piece that is not too warm. And so yeah, that's what I'm wearing. I think that is everything. I do have yarns in stock in the Yarnbrary. I just don't have a lot to say right now because, like I said, I'm working on figuring out some direction about what I want to focus on in my business. If you have thoughts of what you would love to see me focus on, I'll definitely take that all into consideration. So please do share. But yeah, that's where we are. So thank you for bearing with me through kind of that rough topic at the beginning. And then hopefully I made up for it with some fun yarny loveliness during the middle. But I really appreciate all of your thoughts, all of your support, all the times that you leave me sweet comments. And I love sharing with you. I think that we have a lovely little group here, and I'm so happy to get on and record and talk to you each episode. And I will definitely be back in about a week. I look forward to that time. Until then, hope you have so much fun with all of your making. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.